Recent events. Let's start with the events that just happened in Niger. What more do we know now?
Well, it appears that a very large group of fighters, possibly several hundred of them, were behind this latest attack in Niger. We understand that they used suicide bombs and then launched mortars before storming this military base in Niger. At least 71 Nigerian soldiers were killed in that attack that was later claimed by the Islamic State group. And it's worth mentioning also that this attack happened in the Liptako-Gourma region, which borders Niger, Burkina Faso and Mali. And this area has really become a key front line in this emerging conflict in the Sahel.
You mentioned all these other countries, that Niger and Mali and Burkina Faso. Put things in context and perspective for us, because we've seen these attacks. They've gained strength and ferocity in the recent years. What more can you tell us?
Well, armed groups that are operating in these areas are profiting from a number of things. They're profiting from porous borders, from illegal trafficking, drug trafficking, weapons trafficking, human trafficking. They're also profiting from little state presence in some of these areas where armies, national armies, are struggling to fight back. And these armed groups are also developing, it seems, a sort of coercion and control system over some of these communities in these areas in order to expand and increase their capabilities.
What about the authorities themselves in these countries that are targeted? What are they doing in terms of security to make sure that these insurgencies do not carry on?
Well, this year, a number of governments in the region have increased their budgets. We've seen some joint regional military operations this year. In recent months, there are also foreign troops that are present. The French have 4,500 soldiers deployed in the Sahel region. The Americans have drone bases in Niger. But what we're seeing is that short-term military successes are not really having any kind of lasting impact for now, and it seems that non-military solutions, issues that address issues like climate change and unemployment, these are issues that also need to be urgently addressed in this region.
Now, Louise, just briefly, going into the new year, what is the prognosis of these countries?
Well, looking ahead, all eyes will be on France in January, where a security summit is expected to take place between West African leaders and the French, who have been deployed in the region now since 2013. There are also elections coming up later next year in Burkina Faso, and insecurity there is likely to be one of the top issues for voters. And finally, the humanitarian situation in the region is likely to worsen. The UN has warned that an estimated 15.5 million people are likely to be food insecure next year, the worst number, they say, in 5 years.
Thank you, Louise, for taking the time to speak to us. That was Louise de Wast, our correspondent in West and Central Africa.